This is a fantastic crowd, and I'm really excited to see everybody here for this wonderful evening. So with no further ado, I want to introduce our MC, our host, and our mediator for the evening. You might know him from Live Free and Debate at the Shell, as well as Porkfest Soho, and founding the Shell, Mr. Dennis Pratt. Welcome.
So it's really exciting to open up a debate series in another section of the Free State. Absolutely fantastic. So what we're first going to do is find out where you currently sit. So the topic today is which currency is best for you. So if, just by a show of hands, if you think that right now, how you are, Fiat is best for you, please raise your hand. Well, best however you want to define it. I think they will be defining it. Okay, if you think that crypto is best for you, please raise your hand. Okay. And if you think that silver is best for you, please raise your hand. Woo! All right. And if you're undecided as to which is best for you, raise your hand. Okay, so
Is that currency that he's talking about, is it asset-backed or is it just floating against other currencies?
yes, as opposed to those three currencies.
Which you think?
The three are fiat, real silver, real gold, and crypto.
Okay, but what he's quoting, is it asset-backed currency?
Lucy?
No, it's
Fiat.
U.S. fiat currency.
Main fiat. Just
Oh,
fiat.
yes.
Not US dollar in general. Fiat.
Besides your faith.
So the first tonight, the first currency that we'll hear from is silver. All right, we have some silver aficionados here, Dave. Silver Dave was an Eagle Scout and a Green Beret in the Army Special Forces. During the time of the military, Dave discovered what a fraud the wars were, and that caused him to get involved in the silver industry to promote sound money. He formed a company called Sons of Liberty, making over 1 million pieces of silver. And I think I have some of this silver. Before selling the company in 2016, he worked for a silver refinery in Philadelphia. Dave later returned home to New Hampshire to start another silver operation, including both a minting facility and a store called the Local Silver Mint. So I'd like you to clap for Silver Dave.
Here you go. All right. So I have the first slot here, and so kind of unique because I have to go first. So I'm gonna get right into this, but before I get started, I just want to go ahead and do a little bit of basically a little bit of a warning. You might be offended or butthurt by what I'm going to say to you tonight. If you are a fiat or a crypto enthusiast, you might not like everything I have to say. However, I come to you with my truths and what I know and what I observe. And you can use this information as you see fit or not. All right. Excuse me. So, I'll start by saying that for thousands of years, man has learned that sound money has 4 fundamental components. And those are divisibility, durability, relative scarcity, and intrinsic worth. And what that means is, first, divisibility means that a good money needs to be divisible so that you can use it for small, medium, or large purchases. Next, durability it means that it needs to be durable, it needs to survive, and be able to be portable and not get destroyed or get wet and then to be destroyed. So it needs to be able to resist the elements and the different things that might happen along the 10 or 50 or 100 years that it's circulated. Next, relative scarcity. And I'll give some examples of all these things. Oh, hey, buddy. So, first, relative scarcity, if you were to look at the periodic table, for example, and you started deciding which things, which materials would make a good bargain. Well, first, you look at the periodic table and you'll see like there's toxic gases and other explosive gases and things that will be hard to contain or transport, and not everyone's going to want to receive that. It could give them, cancer or other problems, and you don't want to have that. So that's, as you work your way down the periodic table, you'll see that then there's things like silica or sand, which makes up most of the surface of the earth. And so in this case, it's so abundant that it also doesn't work because it's everywhere. And so relative scarcity is important, something that there isn't just a boatload of somewhere else and that will suddenly come in and flood the market and inflate the currency. And then finally, and this is probably the most important one, because it's the one that's missing in the other currencies, and that is intrinsic worth. Intrinsic worth means if you got stuck with it, could you still use it for something? And so, right off the bat, I'm going to get right into it. First, Federal Reserve notes do not have intrinsic worth because there are only two known uses that I can come up with for them. And one of them is it can be rolled into a tube and used to, And then the other one is it can be folded into a little picture of the Twin Towers, like coming down. And those are the only two things that you can use them for that I know of. It doesn't make good toilet paper. If you've ever tried using it, you'll see it doesn't wipe, it doesn't absorb, it's got crap, and you'll probably get an infection because that has been in bad places. You're only putting it in a worse place. So dollars don't have intrinsic worth. Now also, cryptocurrency, another problem. If you got stuck with it and you had to just keep it, could you use it for anything? And well, I would say no, because sorry, I'm slightly distracted.
Try not to let him distract you.
Is Mom out there? Okay. So, intrinsic worth. So, cryptocurrency, if you have to keep it, can you use it for anything? The only reason it seems like people like cryptocurrency that I notice is because they say it's going to go up in dollars. But only because they want to trade it for something else. Now, intrinsic worth. Does silver have intrinsic worth? Well, let me tell you a few things you can do with silver. First of all, silver is the best conductor of electricity of any metal on the planet, even better than gold. You probably didn't know that. You probably thought gold's the best. But actually, gold makes the best terminals because they contact and make really good contacts. But silver is a better conductor of electricity. Also, silver is the best reflector of light on the spectrum, better than any other material as a mirror. Now, why does that matter? Well, if you like photography, then you like silver because old school photography needed silver, and new photography still needs silver. Your phone, your camera, it didn't work without silver in the film, and now when it's digital, it still doesn't work without silver. Your phone, your computer, your car, even the clothes you're wearing needs silver because you would have paid 10 times as much for your shirt if someone had to hand sew it. Instead, they had machines that mass produced it, and those machines needed silver. You can't replace the silver with steel or aluminum. It won't turn on, the computer won't turn on. And you can take 1 ounce of silver and make a wire 1 mile long, which will conduct electricity a mile. 1 ounce of silver. So those are some intrinsic worth. And so just going back, talking about those 4 fundamentals, you're going to give me a warning when I'm
I will.
5 minutes
Yes.
away.
You're halfway.
Halfway, all right. So, relative scarcity. not something that's everywhere, something that's got a scarcity. That's the first fundamental. Divisibility. It's got to be divisible, used that you can divide it up into pieces. Durability. It can't be something that spoils or goes bad. Another example is like bananas. Bananas are really wonderful, right? You love bananas, but if you use bananas as a money, well, they spoil. You have to keep them at the right temperature. Not everybody wants the bananas, and so that's a problem. And so on that periodic table, you start narrowing down things, and then you get to aluminum and steel. Well, steel is valuable, but the problem is if you want to buy a cheeseburger, you're going to need 500 pounds of steel at the current market rate, and that's going to be a lot to transport. And as you work your way down, finally you get to copper, silver, and gold. Silver is antibacterial even. And so there are so many uses for silver. And one more thing about the uses of silver. Did you know that there are over 50% of all patents in the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, over 50% of all patents involve the use of silver somewhere in the design. Over 50% of all things patented need silver. So silver is very useful. So as I'm going to move on, the next thing, why is silver the best currency? Well, silver is the best currency because of those four fundamentals, that it hits those targets. And for thousands of years, people have used silver and gold for their trades and their commerce and exchanges. So the next thing, well, why is cryptocurrency is missing this intrinsic worth? But what else is the problem? And I suggest dependence. Do you want to be independent or dependent? Well, what makes you dependent in terms of crypto? Well, if you want to use cryptocurrency, you will be dependent on a device, smartphone or a device. You will be dependent on internet access. You'll also be dependent on internet. You have to have internet in general and internet access. Also, you need to have electricity. So to use cryptocurrency, you need electricity, you need an app, you need a phone, you need internet access, and you depend on all those things. Is it possible that you'll always have access to those things no matter what? What if you are off the grid? Can you be off the grid but still using your smartphone? On the other hand, silver does not make you dependent on any of those things. Instead, you can literally just hand someone the piece of silver for the goods or services that you want. So that's the problem with cryptocurrency, is that it makes you dependent on all those things. And I would also suggest that cryptocurrency is actually designed by the same people who created the Federal Reserve Bank, and that they told you that it's secret, untrackable, no one can stop it, but they just said that to you because they wanted you to believe that because it wasn't true. And that they do control things on the internet, I would suggest. Now, next, I don't have much time, so fiat. Well, fiat, this is easy. Fiat is slave money. Fiat is slave money. They literally print these things out of a printer. They can print them, and if you print them, they'll come and they'll send their guys and their goons to your house at 4 in the morning, shoot your dog, that sort of thing. So fiat is slave money. All right, I have another point that I wanted to make, but I'm going to have to save that because I think I have
A little bit less than 1 minute.
I have less than 1 minute, so I'm going to have to close. All right, I'm just going to throw this out really fast. In 1906, there were over 20,000 privately issued currencies that existed. 1906. In 1907, there was only one because they crashed them all. They could only have one. Today, there's over 20,000 privately issued cryptocurrencies that exist. And the government wants to issue a central bank digital cryptocurrency. Do you think they will let there be 20,000 other options? Or is it possible they'll use the exact same technique that they used in 1906 by crashing the current systems, and then people will beg for a government-controlled, centrally regulated cryptocurrency that protects them from the horrible crash of 2023. When you possess your physical silver, you have that wealth. It's there and you have it. No one else has it. That is why silver is the best currency for exchanges and for freedom. I'm Silver Dave. Thank you very much.
So our next introduction will be the crypto introduction. And so we thought, well, you know, whom could we ask for this? So we decided that the SEC knows the person who knows the least about cryptocurrency, and we chose Jeremy Kaufman. Jeremy is the board of the FSP. He's a very failed candidate for senator. Famously on the NBC Boston documentary, he said that it's hard to hate us if you know us. Therefore, let me introduce to you the man nobody knows, Jeremy Kaufman.
Can I take this out, or is it?
No, you don't want to do that.
It's like a public school. Like a public school. So Dennis asked me to write my own introduction. I said there's no way I can write a better introduction than you speaking extemporaneously, and I stand by that claim because that's a better introduction than I would have written for myself. And so I'm probably like using my time, but as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to persuasion, 7 minutes is an infinite amount of time, so I will burn some. And I'll start by saying that this is actually, I'm a little bit disappointed because I thought I was going to be having like a WWE style debate. I thought I was going to be in these silver morons. The only reason they hate cryptocurrency is because they have never done math in their entire life. Yeah, what's a Byzantine general, Dave? Can you explain the problem to me? I thought I was going to be up here with stuff like that, and I was like writing all these jokes. And I'm not going to get to use them, so now I'm just like burning a couple in the opening. I'm not going to get to do that, so unfortunately I have to be serious. And if I have to be serious, I probably don't need to spend very much time convincing you that fiat currency is a pretty terrible currency. Right? We all know that the Federal Reserve has devalued that currency continually since its establishment, and will continue to do so. Right? We're seeing that currently. We're about to see yet another banking crisis, most likely. Something we've continued to see repeatedly, approximately every decade or so. And so, when you own dollars, what you're basically signing up for is the continued slow devaluation of that. That's what it means to own dollars. Honestly, arguing against metals seems even easier because as libertarians, we understand that markets exist, and if you wanted to use metals, you could. You don't. You don't, right? We know, we've seen markets. The market has spoken. Everyone in America has the option of conducting their business with metals, and they don't choose to do so. So it's really, what we are now seeing, though, is that cryptocurrency does present this potential to us to do something different. And cryptocurrency actually represents everything. Because cryptocurrency is a database. And you can do anything with the database. If you want to put silver on a blockchain, you can put silver on a blockchain. If you want to put the US dollar on a blockchain, you can put the US dollar on a blockchain. You can use a database to record practically anything. And so to say that something is superior to cryptocurrency is to say that some subset of everything is superior to everything. All right? That's just never going to be true. So we can look at this both from the big picture, from the long term, or we can look at this from the short term and the small picture. And I think from both sides, cryptocurrency is going to come out looking decently. Let's start with the big picture. Let's start big picture, right? So if we're libertarians and we're free market people, then what we actually prefer is free banking, right? Similar to what Dave was just referencing, although not in rebuttals, but that free banking is what I want. Right? Free banking says anyone can create any currency, anyone can create any financial instrument. Let's let the market sort it out, because markets create the best properties, markets can figure out the best outcome. Okay, well, that's what cryptocurrency can do. Cryptocurrency does not mean some hard cryptographically proven currency like Bitcoin. It could mean that. Cryptocurrency could, and I'm very pro Bitcoin, cryptocurrency can mean anything. Cryptocurrency can mean gold on the blockchain, but we don't have to carry it around with us. Cryptocurrency can mean silver on the blockchain, but we don't have to carry it around with us. Cryptocurrency can mean the US dollar on the blockchain, but we can send it digitally, but without having it be tracked and without all these other things. So cryptocurrency kind of subsumes all other solutions, which makes it very difficult to be inferior to other possibilities. So if you're saying big picture, free banking is the ideal thing. Well, with cryptocurrency, you can do anything. If you want to build David Friedman's commodity money, you can do that. Whatever you want to build on top of a blockchain, you can build. So let's look short term, because how do we want to use our money in the short term? And again, we see here that cryptocurrency can simply do things that other things cannot do. You would be quite arguably better off holding sort of liquid money that you might hold in fiat. You can hold that in cryptocurrency. If you want to hold it in fiat, you can hold it in fiat. If you want to hold it in Bitcoin, you can hold it in Bitcoin. You can do things with cryptocurrency today that simply cannot be done with traditional money. Via cryptocurrency, I have censorship-proof digital money. I could send money to the truckers in Canada when Canadians could not send money through their traditional banking system. I was able to give them money when other people could not. With cryptocurrency, I can buy products online that I cannot buy with fiat and that I cannot buy with silver. So already we have seen that cryptocurrency today enables the possibility of doing things that simply cannot be done with fiat. So it seems that from both the long-term perspective, what can cryptocurrency do theoretically, as well as from the short-term immediate perspective, that you're better off going with cryptocurrency. I'll add a variety of other comments. And this is one, I'm a cryptocurrency fan, but not everyone always likes this. Money is not an investment, okay? We should be we should be having money so that we can use it to do things. I'm pro crypto. I'm not saying buy a bunch of Bitcoin and hold it. If you're going to invest money into something, you should be investing things into productive enterprises. The question is, if you're going to have some money, what is the best money to have in your pocket? Are you better off with a bunch of silver bars? Are you better off with a bunch of US dollars? Or are you better off with cryptocurrency, which could be silver bars, or could be US dollars, or could be any of those things, and could all be exchanged digitally for one another at any time, whenever you like, without permission. And so the idea that cryptocurrency can be that, can be anything, seems completely superior in terms of a money. This isn't me saying buy Bitcoin and you're going to become a millionaire. I actually am not a big fan of that side of crypto, although I know some people are, and I'm not against it because I got tons of Bitcoin. But in terms of actually being money, cryptocurrency is a superior money today. Cryptocurrency offers us more privacy. Okay, there's simply no way to send money online or to send money digitally that has better properties than cryptocurrency. And again, this is the way we are spending our money. More and more of our money is being spent this way. If we were all, if we were doing all of our purchases in peer-to-peer barter, maybe, we could still be using silver bars or whatever, but like, how many of your purchases, what is the trend of your purchases? Are you buying more things online or less? What is the direction of things? So cryptocurrency is superior here. It's superior in terms of usability. Again, if we want to cart around any substantial amount of money, I can do it with far more ease using cryptocurrency than using silver or even dollars, by the way. I will, again, 7 minutes into the amount of time, so I'm now going to rant. Movies get this wrong. If you want to put $1 million, in a suitcase, it takes up a lot of space. You're talking about $5-10 million. That's a lot of weight. Okay, movies are fake about this. All right, so money isn't even good at this. Okay, the government got rid of any bill larger than $100, and they did that for a reason. So you've really got to use cryptocurrency for any substantial illegal sum of money. Let's acknowledge that. If we're talking about future things, what's more resilient to innovations or disruptions? This might sound kind of fantastical, but again, 7 minutes, infinite amount of time, get to make every argument. Like, what kind of money is more sound to potential theoretical disruptions or innovations? Look, maybe one day, I should have done my research. What's the whole like Archimedes thing about making gold? Like, it is theoretically possible that we will be able to make silver. or make gold. Like, that is theoretically possible. That is not beyond the realm of physics. And even if you don't accept some sort of innovation, we could find an asteroid, right? If you're going to bet on silver or gold, what happens if we find an asteroid with 10 times the amount of gold or silver that exists on the planet Earth? That is not an unrealistic probability, right? I mean, so I'm just saying, if you're going to say I'm going to go all in on one precious metal, you are speculating that that metal we won't be able to make more of it, right? Whereas cryptocurrency, we can bet on math that is very, very sound, that can't be disproved. It seems more probable that we will find an ability to make more gold or silver, or find more gold or silver, than it will be that we find an ability to increase the amount of Bitcoin, right? Like, that seems more probable in terms of imagining possible things that aren't. I'm not saying these things are extremely likely, but if you're just imagining what kind of thing. Now, on the other side, if you're imagining a collapse, I do think that if you're imagining a collapse, that cryptocurrency has some problems. But if you're imagining a collapse, a better currency than silver is bullets, right? So if we're imagining a collapse, right, we might be better off owning things other than gold or silver, right? We might just, if that's the scenario that we're saying, what's the currency that's going to work in a collapse? It's still not clear to me that it's precious metals. Though I will agree that if the internet, shuts down or breaks, cryptocurrency may not be the best thing, but that means that you're making a lot of other choices about your life. If you're saying, what's the best currency for me in which the entire world collapses? Cryptocurrency actually probably isn't the best option. I will concede that. If the internet doesn't work, cryptocurrency doesn't work. If you're planning for that scenario, that's not the scenario I'm planning for. Yeah. Whereas there's a very realistic scenario where cryptocurrency is able to outcompete fiat currency. This is a very realistic scenario where cryptocurrency can actually outcompete in the marketplace the existing currencies, because we can create better solutions that people can use peer-to-peer on their phone with better properties than the money that is currently being used. So we have the ability to win in the marketplace with cryptocurrency. That is not going to happen with metals. It hasn't. Because unless there's some innovation that's going to be proposed, they've had decades to win in the marketplace. So, yeah. So I think crypto effectively subsumes everything. With crypto, we can do everything. Crypto has superior properties in everything absent some sort of extreme collapse scenario. And so if we appreciate what cryptocurrencies are, what currencies are, that currencies aren't investments, they're for being able to use them. And cryptocurrency simply has superior properties in terms of if you want to have a currency and hold it and be able to use it, it has superior properties to the alternatives. Thank you.
So we've heard from silver and we've heard from crypto. The last contender for your money, for your currency consideration, is fiat. And we were thinking, okay, well, who should represent fiat? And we thought, well, who produces enough right now that we could actually talk about something like fiat? And the man we chose is a man who produces more children than anyone else. He is representing the international banking community. He's a lobbyist and shill for fiat. Jay Newton.
You can address me as the international banker as long as I'm wearing my criminal outfit. The thing with fiat is all normies are using it. It's really in. And if you can just leave it in the bank and basically never lose it as long as it's not any more than $250,000, or you can do private transactions that are untraceable using dollar bills. And yeah, you might need a pickup truck if you're got $20 or $30 million to transport around, but they're out there, so it works. And the other thing is too is if it wasn't for fiat. The ability to essentially, back up a little bit. Fiat dollars in the form of U.S. dollars are actually technically banknotes issued by a private bank, giving centralized power to such private bank. And we can back up to an example of World War I. In the beginning of World War I, about $10 billion of gold existed. There was a major issue with some people on the other side of the world, and we needed to tune them up. We could not have done that. The United States of America could not have made World War I, the history it was, without the ability to essentially fractional reserve, create money out of thin air. And, who doesn't love military technology? Who doesn't just think that $25 million F-16s flying over Super Bowl games is just the coolest stuff ever? That's what America's all about. And now we got $40 million F-35s or 34s or whatever. The generations keep changing, technology keeps getting better. And that couldn't happen without, private banking notes being issued. So the bottom line is like, normies are really stupid. So somebody needs to control them. And the best way to do it is a whole bunch of guys that are smarter than them getting together and controlling the money. So now that we've established that's happened, everybody here uses dollars and you're familiar with them, right? And if you don't want to get a pickup truck to haul millions of dollars, you can do wires. All you got to do is have, like a social security number. Everybody's got one of those, right? There's a couple kids in here that don't have them. Proper forms of ID. I'm sure everybody's got that. So it's all built in. It's simple to use, and it's a no-brainer. You don't have to think about it much. It doesn't require a lot of responsibility. It works very well in today's culture. The problem with Bitcoin and silver is that requires a lot of responsibility. And I don't know that everybody's up for that. I know a guy, he mined a whole bunch of Bitcoin. And he had 1,000 Bitcoin that he mined, and it was all on a USB stick and some kind of crazy wallet, and he forgot the password or lost it or something. That same guy actually lost $1,000 too one day. So cash, and I know a whole bunch of people who they're all this silver they're dragging around, and they get big safes, and it costs all kinds of money. And then, so silver and gold are very expensive to store, and then all the time the people who got silver, they're always look how much silver I got. They just can't help themselves. So they just make themselves a target, and with the dollars, the government knows how much you have usually, so and they're here to protect you and no, seriously, it says it right in one of their documents, to protect the life, liberty, and property of the people, so you got nothing to worry about. That being said, we've got examples of crypto. It's basically a scam. You're basically going to jail if you use it. Just Ross Ulbricht, the Crypto 6, LBRY, they just did some stuff to them, shut them off. You can't use that anymore, I guess. Or I'm not really sure. But they got in trouble too, and they had to stay after school for a while. And if they had just used dollars and followed all the procedures and filled out all the paperwork, there's stacks of books you can read on this stuff, and guys wearing suits and ties, you pay a lot of money to keep you compliant. We've made it real simple. And the thing is, when you are, you have 7 billion people on the planet, you just can't let them have freedom. Total chaos. So, and anyone who's paying attention, you just look through history, there's all these booms and busts, pumps and dumps. And if you just look through history and you just pay attention to these cycles, Jeremy had mentioned these cycles, and you just ride these cycles correctly, and, and you will make all kinds of money. And well, if you can't, then you're stupid. I'm not, you deserve to be poor. I don't know what to tell you. So anyways, my friends, the international banking community, know what's best for you. You should just leave everything up to them. Your life will be a lot easier. Keep on looking at your internet devices. Make sure you put them in front of your children at a very young age, and start teaching them how to use them so they can make digital transactions. And now with the coming CBDCs that you guys are going to be, have the option to use, and then you'll be forced to use them. That's just like cryptocurrency, basically. It's real simple. You just wave your hand, and there's like a thing in it, and it picks it up. The signal in your hand, and you'll be able to transfer your dollars, and you don't have to worry about losing it. And there'll be great incentives, like a social credit score that'll make sure that you behave, because most of the people are pretty stupid. I mean, if the average IQ is 100, so there's a whole bunch of people that are less than 100. Think about that. You've got to keep those guys in check, and that's what this is for. And everybody else can just make a whole bunch of money playing the game, like my friends do, and life will be good. I'm not sure what else to say now. How much time do I have left?
You have 5 minutes.
I'm not going to use all my rebuttals. You're done to speak up.
It's good for herd immunity.
You don't have to go the whole time.
Take questions.
Well, this is an intro. Questions are afterwards.
Who here has Bitcoin that they can show you? No one. Some people
So,
have silver that they want money.
Getting back to cryptocurrencies here, well, the example is if you use it, you're going to go to jail. And that's really the best one, I think. The one that gets my attention. Because, we have controls in place, and we have people that are employed that, their job is to just, make sure we are well protected. So, for example, when countries are like, we're not going to trade in dollars, we just call them terrorists, and we point a finger at them, and hire some crisis actors to say some stuff about them, like they kill babies and stuff, and then we go bomb the hell out of them. And it's just a real good way to straighten them out, to set an example of the power of the dollar. Modern day warfare technology just absolutely could not exist if it wasn't for the ability to fractional reserve bank. And that's it's fiat is almighty, and if you cross it, it will kill you or your family.
It's good at spreading disease.
Or entire religions. And also the intrinsic value, of dollars is people just love it. You just start shaking dollars around, even just $1 bills. Like, you can shake around hundreds of these things. People will go crazy. They'll run to you. They'll worship you. They'll think you're something powerful. You go ask the average guy in the street, hey, would you rather have a $1 bill or this piece of gold paper? And he'll probably want the $1 bill, because a lot of people aren't really sure what to do with gold. You can't eat gold or silver. And also, gold has been confiscated in history. And, the powers to be can easily confiscate and shut down pretty much anything they want, because, well, they have most of the people controlled through their internet devices and, public schooling system. You couldn't have, and you couldn't have a beautiful, amazing public schooling system, which has been a best education system in the past 150 years in America here, without the ability to do fractional reserve banking. I mean, just the fact that it costs $20,000 a student to send a kid to school here in New Hampshire, couldn't happen without the fact that we can just extend money at interest rates which we can control, so we can kind of push the economy forward. We can pull the economy back, and we can artificially also we can create scarcity and demand in markets, which for anybody who's just paying attention, you should be able to make all kinds of money. And people who can't make money at that, the hell with you. So dollars are good because you can buy guns with dollars. You can buy we wouldn't have nuclear fusion. We wouldn't have all these beautiful nuclear power plants and the ability to scare other nations of the world with nuclear bombs without dollars. The Manhattan Project, cost so much money that, our great-great-grandchildren will be paying the interest on that debt. So, I'm gonna close for that. Thank you for listening to my shill on the dollars.
All right. Just a note on our formats, that was the introductions. We're going to have a period of rebuttals. They're going to be a little bit shorter and more to the point. And then we're going to have a little break. You can get some food, talk, and think about questions that you're going to ask our esteemed panel. We'll reconvene for a question and answer, and then conclusions. And then you'll vote again as to which is the best currency for you. So, first up on rebuttals is the, I'm pretty sure, yes, it is crypto.
This is tricky because I already got to go after Dave, and you can't help mentioning some of the things the person before you go. I don't know what the rules say about that, but you can help yourself. I don't really know what I'm saying is new. You know, Jay was making some satirical arguments that are actually very correct. Like, the truth is, if the most powerful mafia in the world demands something, it's going to be valuable, and it doesn't matter how arbitrary it is. You know, so the reason, you know, like, I actually don't really see this debate as I actually see fiat as the enemy that I've got to beat. I mean, silver's just easy. I can put silver on the blockchain, dude. I can just have silver on the blockchain, then I don't have to carry around pounds of it, right? I can just do that, right? I don't, you know, so it's like, the question is around, can blockchains defeat governments? And this is actually an open question as far as I'm concerned, if I'm being honest about it. We're in quite a battle right now, and it's not clear who's going to win. I am certainly rooting for the blockchains, but as a realist, I find it plausible that the most powerful established forces in the world will continue to be the most powerful established forces, and will find ways of shutting things down that disrupt their power. So, you know, I want to believe that the blockchain people can do it. I want to believe that we can beat them because we have the you know, we have the innovation and the motivation on our side, and we have the technology on our side, you know, that we have these forces that can't be stopped, right? That would be the optimistic belief that we can do things that it doesn't matter, and they can't stop that. But I actually, if I'm being honest, and again, I'm a bad debater because I like being honest. If you want to be a good debater, you're supposed to just argue your side. If I'm being honest, then it's like it's a little bit unclear. It's a little bit unclear. I want the blockchainers to win. I think we have the ability to win. I think the technology is there. I actually think for blockchain that the biggest challenge is, are we going to be able to win on the sort of social side of things rather than the technological side of things. But I think as long as we can win on the social side of things, as long as we can make it work for people, then blockchain can win. It's because we're going through a period with blockchain right now that actually was part of what got me interested in blockchain originally. There was something that happened under Barack Obama called Operation Checkpoint, which was where the Obama administration put pressure on a bunch of firearms providers, drug paraphernalia providers, a whole bunch of market activity that was legal to gray market, but like not clearly illegal. And the credit card companies just shut them down. So you had all these businesses, they were established businesses, they were operating legally, and they lost the ability to move money. And that's what we need, right? That's what we need, is because when we can move value from one another in a permissionless way, then government regulations start to matter a lot less. And that's why Bitcoin is important, or cryptocurrency is important. It's this idea that, well, because honestly, and it's cash, by the way. Not to argue for the fiat side, but it's cash. It's cash that lets us go and buy drugs, or I mean, look, whatever you want to say. Cash, if you want to do things that are illegal or quasi-legal or that the government doesn't like, right now you're going to use cash, you're going to use cryptocurrency. That's the truth. You're not going to use silver. I don't know. Maybe there's some gangster out there who's like, give you a bunch of silver. I don't know that this person exists. And by the way, it's not about doing illegal things. It's about being able to tap in the potential of the positive things that the government prevents from happening. Right? There's so many things that we could be doing, that we could be building, right? But the point is, if you want to evaluate a currency from whether it works, you actually kind of evaluate it from whether it works for the criminals. The criminals have the strongest demands for their currencies, or the gray market kinds of people, right? If it works for them, then it's going to work for you. If because that they had the strongest demands, right? And so we went through this where the credit cards didn't work, fiat didn't work, and we're going through it again with cryptocurrency as well as with other industries, where there's an attempt to shut out Americans from doing these things in legal means. And so I think cryptocurrency is literally the only technology with the ability to win. It's the only one, right? We can't do it. We can't send silver over the internet. We can't send dollars over the internet. With cryptocurrency, we can send value over the internet. And so whether that's an attempt to ban books, an attempt to ban firearms, an attempt to ban drug paraphernalia, an attempt to ban sex work, an attempt to ban whatever, the money that is the most censorship resistant will be the money that ends up being used. And I think today that is cryptocurrency. And it doesn't matter, again, I think it's really important with the cryptocurrency debate. Don't get focused on, oh, it's about hard money like Bitcoin, or oh, it's about whatever. It's just about the ability to do these censorship resistant things digitally. That's all cryptocurrency is. So if you like gold, you can do censorship resistant gold digitally. If you like dollars, you can do censorship resistant dollars, right? We have stable coins, right? And if you want a hard currency, you have Bitcoin or other ones like that. So blockchain seems to be able, to do it all. It seems to be able to subsume everything. And so it seems to be, if there is, I'm not pro-government, but I'm a realist, and so I think you're saying, oh, you're going to defeat the Federal Reserve. I do tend to take the attitude of like, oh, no, I mean, that seems like a hard battle. But if there's anything that can do it, it's going to look like something like this. It's going to look like something like this, because this is something that has the properties of, this is something that you can marginally switch to. This is something that can't be clearly shut down by the government, by the powers that be. And this is something that is better than the status quo. It's something that is better. We can do money better than government money. And we can do better money than carrying rocks around in our pocket. Right? And so it's like, if you're, to say that, oh, I think government money is so bad that I want to go back to carrying around rocks in my pocket, I'm just like, no, we can do better than that too. Like that's not the only option. So we all recognize the downfalls here generally of government money. So it's really about, do we want to go back to rocks in our pocket, or do we want to be able to send money digitally? And I'm on team send it digitally. So.
Okay, telling everyone else why they are wrong is our dirty fiat.
Back for David. Just go first.
Well,
Going first is not a
Did you
good
pay
idea.
him
That's-
off?
Going first is the worst place to
I
be.
agree.
But that's why he switched it up.
Fiat shares many of the benefits of both metals and crypto. So with, and also fiat, just like crypto, has, historically, the technology in fiat has been changing for like the past 100 years. Getting right into that, if we look at 1935, we just decided to get rid of the gold standard because gold's just a real pain in the ass for us. And also, there's a whole bunch of it that the railroad owns all around Arizona, around the Grand Canyon. There's millions of tons of gold down there that we just made sure it got buried forever, made it national parks, and nobody can get to it. The asteroid already landed. It was just millions of years ago and right there with all the gold on it. So the railroad would just control everything unless the international bank, if the international bankers didn't step in and get gold out of the picture, we would all be slaves to the railroad because they own all those gold mineral rights in Arizona. So you're welcome for that, people. You're not slaves to the railroad. Going forward, we decided that silver was a real pain in the ass, so we got rid of that. In 1960 something, we also had to kill this guy, who was working on shutting the Federal Reserve down. And then they, made $50 with them with 40% silver, which I thought was kind of cute. And then, it got, sort of hard to maintain a copper standard. So in 1981, we started, printing non-copper pennies, and I think we're getting rid of those very soon, the pennies, because now they're a pain in the ass. So the dollars are still there, they're still around. You can use them to buy your drugs, do your private transactions, and you can just swipe your card, and it's just like crypto. And you can put trillions of dollars in your bank account, just like crypto. And it's easy to use, and everybody likes it. And if you got a bunch of dollars in your bank account, you can get girls like crazy. I don't know if girls are really into silver. I've never really asked any. But so the getting a little lost here.
He
Sorry.
wins on that one alone.
It spreads disease. Right?
We have a whole bunch of people that have wonderful careers in the military and government because of U.S. dollars.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin and silver aren't letting that stuff happen. And how many roads has Bitcoin built? How many roads has silver built? How many union workers will accept Bitcoin or silver to actually get stuff done? None. So dollar wins every time, in and out. And does Bitcoin have a military? Does silver have a military? No, but Fiat has all the military. So you can't stop us.
Can't pay fines with crypto.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, good reminder. How are you going to pay your property taxes? How are you going to pay your light bill? How are you going to pay for your cell phone? I mean, if you don't pay those property taxes to make sure those kids in public school are getting properly trained, men with guns will appear at your house. I know a guy I happen to. Although, a little, there is a state or two that I've heard that they are actually accepting crypto. I believe Colorado and Wyoming in payment of government services and taxes. 100% how true that is, but we're going to make it a point to fix that shit. So if you want a world like Star Trek, someday, keep on having faith in fiat dollars. Believe in in the people who are smarter than you, because they just know what's best. And if you like your car that drives on these roads, you can thank dollars for that, because we have the best roads that dollars can build here in America. And if you like fentanyl and heroin and the prison industrial complex and vaccines for everybody, that's all brought to you by fiat dollars. No way this could have happened with crypto and Bitcoin, crypto and precious metals. How else do you build beautiful buildings like the courthouses with all the marble, and the state house that's covered in gold with fiat dollars? Oh, you can use fiat to buy all the crypto and gold you want too, because there's tons of fiat. They make more fiat every single day. So this is an never-lasting supply. And the reason we need to have currencies that are inflation, that you can inflate, and we just keep it at 2% per year. That's all it is, which is acceptable, because we have to keep up with population. Can you imagine what kind of how people would just save money and squander it if it was worth more tomorrow, and they're going to be worth more the day before? I mean, our entire economy and way of life is based on the fact that if you hold your dollars, they become worth less and less. So it encourages people to increase the economy, keep the economy rolling, to buy stuff, buy stuff like, now instead of later, especially if you have the dollars, to keep, the economy rolling. This is the way things work, and this is how we keep everything going nice and smooth, and this is how fiat is also how we keep people in line. If you're doing bad things like selling guns, we're gonna probably have to restrict you a little bit on that, because the nations where the guns are super pain in the ass, and we're working on that too. Go dollars.
Our last rebuttal, telling crypto and fiat, why they are wrong, is silver. Silver ding.
All right, I'm back. All right, so first, I want to respond to the markets. I know that Jeremy mentioned that everyone's using dollars. And he said, well, you're using them, you must like them, you know, because that's what you chose to use. But hold on a second. This is a rigged market. They have rigged the market to make it so you are required to pay your slave taxes in dollars, so that you have to use dollars. They have configured the system to make it so that you will use dollars, because it is to their advantage that you use dollars instead of silver or exchanging commodities. And I love different commodities as a barter tool. And I know that it was suggested that bullets are a better barter tool than silver. Well, I tend to disagree, even though I highly encourage everyone to have some bullets to go with your silver, because they work together very nicely. The problem is, if you want to go and buy a dozen eggs from your neighbor, and you go to trade him 9mm bullets, but he's got a 7.62, or you've got 5.56, you're like, well, I have 22 long Colt, what do you got? And so it doesn't translate as well, versus the silver will still translate to the next guy and the next guy. And also, some people are afraid of bullets. Some people don't do guns or bullets. And the silver may still work on them. And so, the markets are rigged. And if gold isn't that great, how come the king wanted it back? If gold is no good, how come they always take it back from people? If silver is no good, how come they want you to use paper, but they want the silver and gold? And so, my next point is about convenience. Well, convenience is the area where the devil operates. And I don't mean in a religious sense, but it could be if you like that sort of thing. But in the area of convenience. So it's convenient to use dollars or digital currency to buy things online. And I bought, like, out of the 10 things I bought from Amazon, like 5 of them didn't work or were the wrong freaking thing. And I wanted to go to the local market and look at the thing and hand them a piece of silver. I'm not so much set that I need to have a digital place where I can get screwed all the time buying stuff online and then you send the wrong thing or whatever. I like local markets. And the other piece of this is that if you really care about freedom, if you really care about freedom and liberty, the basis of freedom and liberty comes from the money you use. And if you use slave money, expect slavery. And yeah, it's harder to trade silver and gold or commodities and do that part. It is harder. It is not as convenient. But that is by design. But if you want freedom, if people were trading silver instead of Federal Reserve notes, the system would crumble. They get their power from you using the paper that they print. And then they have that paper that they can use too to buy your energy. And so, if you really care about freedom, you want to use the money of freedom. And the money of freedom is actual stuff. Can you tell the difference between a picture of a steak and an actual steak? Silver is an actual steak. Digits on your screen is a picture of a steak. And if you want to take Super Mario Brothers coin, did you ever play Super Mario Brothers? And you hit your head on the thing and then the coin pops out? But you can only use it in the game. That's the cryptocurrency. And my suggestion is that cryptocurrency was created for the purpose of control. And I don't think that you can do so much on the internet. Oh, I was wondering what you were, I think you had a question or something. Okay. So basically, these markets, they're designed to have you use this money, and the convenience is what gets us, and that's what lures us in to this system. But then the other thing I wanted to respond to was about permission. Everyone said, oh, but you can use cryptocurrency without permission. That's not true. You need the internet. You need a device. You need electricity. You need an app. All those things are your permission. They can take that away from you very easily. And so, for me, I like a future where people are free, where people can make freedom-based exchanges. And The fraudulent type systems, like Federal Reserve notes, which are a huge fraud, but also cryptocurrency isn't anything. If you have to keep it, it's worthless to keep. So what is something that is not useful for anything except to give it away for something else? It's a major problem. And so, to me, I'm not just advocate for silver, I actually advocate for all actual useful things. It just so happens that silver is the most diverse and useful for barters and trades, but I like water tanks. Like, I like a nice 275-gallon water tote. Those are really nice. You got the spout in there. I like to have a few of them. The problem is if I want to buy 2 chickens from my neighbor, it's hard to like bring this pallet tote thing and be like, would you like this? But I can take a little silver coin, and that works. And so, with that, my ultimate point is that just because it's popular doesn't mean it's right. And just because it's convenient doesn't mean it's best. Anyway, so, and every time I see that, I keep thinking you have a question, and I'm like, okay, in the front. All right, so I think I covered what I wanted to say. And I'm going to leave it there, and I thank you so much for listening.
We're going to take a little break. I want you, while we take a break, think of some questions for our panelists. We will need questions for all 3 panelists. There are vendors up in the loft. There is food down here, and there's plenty of people.
Push it to the limit. Walk along the razor's edge. Don't look down, just keep your head or you'll finish. Open up the limit. Past the point of no return. Reach the top, but still you gotta learn how to keep it. It's no wheel and double the stakes.
Hopefully you have good questions for our panelists. So our first panelist to ask a question will be Crypto, Jeremy Kaufman. Jeremy, who are you asking the question of?
I am asking a question of Dave.
Well, please come up here and challenge Dave.
Dave, I have a very hypothetical question, not based in reality. I don't think anything I'm about to propose has ever happened. But let's just say that theoretically a tyrannical government has deemed that its citizens have to get a vaccine mandatorily. And residents of that country really dislike this and they start protesting, and the government says you're not allowed to use banking services. And I live here in America, thousands of miles from them, and I have some silver in my pocket, some rocks. How do I get it? What do I do? Because it's a cryptocurrency, I can send them some crypto. What do I do with my silver? How did I help them? How do I do it?
Okay, good question. Can you say that question again? I didn't understand the last part. You said that we're geographically distanced from each other.
Yeah, I don't know, just picking a country random here. Canada, say there are some people in Canada that I wanted to give some money to, and all I have is some silver in my pocket. But they're in real trouble. There's some real tyranny up there in Canada. What do I do? That's my question.
Okay. That's a great question, and it's very difficult, but I suggest first solve your problems at home before you try to help other people with their problems.
You have a question.
Do I have a question? Yes, my question is for the Federal Reserve man over here. Where is the gold from Fort Knox? Where is it? Can you show it to us? Can you show us an audit where you show that it exists, that you actually have it, that you do not loan it to some other country?
where the gold is. The official story is it's in Fort Knox. But I have not put my eyes on it. I have not took inventory of it, and nor in my lifetime has ever an inventory been taken of the gold. So, I don't know. The best answer I got for you.
Do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question for the cryptocurrency guy. Could you please tell me what safeguards and regulations are in place so people don't get scammed with cryptocurrency?
This one's easy. Everywhere you live, your government will insist that the rules still apply to how you use the cryptocurrency. That's one of the great things about cryptocurrency. In fact, great things, I mean terrible things.
Hey, Lauren.
But your government is still going to say the rules apply, right? So there's no difference in this regard. There's no difference between cryptocurrency and say precious metals. The government is going to say that if you make certain exchanges with those things, that you're going to have to fill out certain paperwork, and you're going to have to show ID, and you're going to have to give your name, and you're going to have to verify certain things. Those things apply just as much to cryptocurrency as they do to precious metals. It sucks that governments do this, let's be clear. But the notion that they are somehow specific to crypto, they apply to everything. The government's belief is that basically anytime you're converting value, anytime you're doing these things need to be tracked, regulated, and known. Now, we can question which of these things is better at evading the government's ability to do these things, which would be an interesting debate. And I think cryptocurrency wins on that front as well. But there's nothing specific to crypto about needing to do these things. They apply to everything.
So now, audience questions. I will be choosing the most enthusiastic and Jody. Jody knows how to play the game. Jody, for whom is your question?
It's for the
My question.
My question is for the Fiat guy. The shill. Does your support of FRNs have anything to do with what you named your son?
Alright, you summoned the man Jay. The ego was on hold. Actually, no. The nickname Cash is short for his correct name, which is Cassasius. Because I named him after the Cassasius coin. And because my father gave us he left us a few Cassasius coins, and I didn't want to name him Joseph Francis Noon V. I'm actually Joseph Francis Noon IV. And Cash just is a cool sounding name, and it's just short for Cassasius, and it has nothing to do with FRNs. In fact, the whole FRN thing sort of diminishes the name Cash a little bit, but it's just short for the first physical Bitcoin that was out there. And the story goes, my dad was like, I am not interested in this digital fake whatever. I want something I can hold in my hand. So my brother and I bought him some Cassasius coins at Porkfest in 2012 or 2011, and he likes pencils on smoothies. So good for the smoothie guy. I hope he did good.
Does he spell it with the typo or not?
Actually, I believe it's spelled without the typo. I'll have to confer with my wife on that. There could be a typo spelling, but it is that coin that has a typo that we got. So that's cool. I might need to sell one. Let me know if you're interested.
Okay, so somebody with passion who may have a question for crypto or silver. Okay, we have somebody who's enthusiastic. For whom is your question?
Can we turn that line down? Wireless?
I don't think it's that bad. Just don't put it in your mouth.
Oh, no, I had to hold it from here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. My question is. My question is for both the crypto and silver positions. If I go to Porkfest and I want to buy, say, a pizza with an alternative currency, that vendor is going to pull up a service such as Coinmetrics and look at the reference rate for how many dollars equals 1 Bitcoin. They are not denominating their goods and services in the native unit. They are denominating them in dollars, they are denominating their time in dollars, and then they are doing a conversion and saying, oh, pay this way. In other words, even among the Liberty community, we are still thinking in dollars. I pay my rent in dollars. If I want to pay my rent in a cryptocurrency like Zcash, there's going to be a conversion every single month. So how do we respond to that? How do we get ourselves away from thinking in terms of dollars?
Which one would you like to speak first?
Okay, sure.
It's for both of you.
Okay. First of all, that's an excellent question, and thank you for bringing that up. It is a problem. It is a problem that we're using dollars as a metric for all of it, and it would be better if we were using it as... Now I'm like suddenly have to process something that just came in. Just read his book. He has these products listed either by gold back or by slave dollars in the price. So he sort of shows that here. But let me just go what I was going to do. So it is a big problem that we're looking at in terms of dollars. And in the case of silver, you can just look at it in terms of ounces, and at some point, if we can get away from dollars, we could actually experience freedom. If we got away from the king's money, and the king's money is when he doesn't have to give anything up, but he gets to keep the gold and the silver, and instead you just get his tickets. And his tickets come in the form of Federal Reserve notes or cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is just tickets from the king, as opposed to actual silver, the actual commodity. So I agree, we definitely need to fix that. You can do it with silver, but you can't really do it with crypto because crypto is just tickets. And you'll still need to metric crypto to dollars or to some other thing. And imagine doing the math of crypto where you're like, oh, I'd like to pay you 0.005652439742571 for a piece of gum. That'd be a real pain in the butt. So yes, we should get away from dollars, and I can see that's possible, that at some point we can see a metric where people will see as an ounce of silver might be the equivalent of a day's labor, and I think we should gear towards that. But I don't know how you'll do it with crypto because, like you said, it's just tickets converted into tickets. Thank you. Thank you.
So I actually think this is a real criticism, and I'm someone who I'm always trying to be the realist, not the idealist. And so the truth is, if there's an entity that says, I would like 40% of the value of all of your productive labor in a given year, and I'm willing to do whatever is necessary to conduct the calculation of the productive value of your labor, like dollars are always going to have a value. Until the federal government does not have power, dollars are going to have value because the federal government's going to say, I want 40% of the value of what you did this year in dollars. And it doesn't matter. You could have done all of your business in Bitcoin. The government's going to say, well, what was that worth in dollars? And I demand dollars. So this idea that we can escape the dollar, I think is like, I'm not going to say it's nonsense, but it's analogous to saying, how can we escape the federal government? So it's much harder than people think. I think it's possible that we can do this, but it's not like we can do it by just changing our currency, because the government's just going to say, well, give me the dollar value of whatever you did. And so I don't think that, to me, I'm not interested in cryptocurrency because it pretends to solve this problem. Silver doesn't solve this problem. If I grow crops and sell my crops for silver, and then the federal government says, well, what was the US dollar of the silver that you received for your crops, and pay that in dollars. Like, so I don't think that there's anything out there that is solving this problem of the fact that the federal government is going to demand dollars from it. And again, I'm sort of just trying to be realistic. So I don't think that there is something that you can do that's going to escape that. And so I don't think that cryptocurrency solves that. So now when we're talking about vendors and vendors using it, yeah, I mean, like, this is also part of the problem. You would want vendors to prefer using cryptocurrency because it had the property of dollars, it had the properties of dollars and more. One of the benefits of selling your goods for dollars is the government doesn't know how many dollars you got. So when you go and vend at PorkFest and you sell 100 pizzas for $5, if you got $5, you can say, well, I only sold 80 pizzas, right? And so dollars make it easier to hide what you are doing from the government, right? Silver makes it easier to hide what you're doing from the government. And cryptocurrency makes it easier, right? It's the untraceability, right? Where credit cards will make it easier for the federal government to understand what's happening. But in terms of making the federal government, making your activity illegible to the federal government, cryptocurrency, silver, and cash all have approximately the same properties because they allow the entrepreneur discretion in what they report to the person they're required to report to. And so this is the property that we should be concerned about. And to be honest about it, all of them have approximately the same abilities here. And it's mostly what's the willingness of the proprietor to sort of circumvent the difficulties, and what is their willingness to not declare income, and so on and so forth. But in terms of which of these things can avoid legibility to the federal government, crypto, US dollars, and silver are, just to be honest, they're all approximately the same. The question is, what can you do with them after the fact? That would maybe be deterministic for you in that regard. But if you're saying, well, how can a PorkFest vendor take this thing and avoid the federal government? Well, dollars, cryptocurrency, and silver are all about the same, and it's going to be about what is the vendor willing to do. But yes, they're going to price the things in dollars. And I never got up here at any point and said, well, cryptocurrency. I think cryptocurrency can displace the dollar, maybe, but this idea that it's going to, we can't just switch. That's not how it's going to work, actually. I don't think that's how it's going to play out, because you have to pay your rent in dollars, and you have to pay your taxes in dollars. And so this idea that we can somehow all agree to, well, we don't like dollars because the dollar sucks, it doesn't matter because you're going to have all these other entities that demand them. And so I'm just realistically, this idea that we can somehow agree to use this other thing and escape the dollar, I actually think that's unrealistic. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be striving towards it and be trying to use alternatives. But you're always going to have to be in dollars. So the question is, well, if we're going to have to be in dollars for the foreseeable future, which of these things is the most compatible with that? And there I think it's crypto, because crypto can do things that dollars can't do, and that silver can't do. That's a long answer.
Okay, so the floor is back open. We'll take anything, and I'm looking for most enthusiastic. Okay, we have Joe.
I have an academic question for crypto.
For crypto.
Okay, you hang on to that. I don't need that.
I don't promise an academic answer.
I have reliable information that the government has an internet kill switch they can use for local, regional, national, and international. How does crypto work when the internet is taken down?
Yeah, I've already been happy to concede that if the internet goes down, that you might be better off with metals than with cryptocurrency. We can imagine some sort of peer-to-peer world where we keep our cryptographic proofs and these things, and people might want to argue this thing, but that's just that you are now, if you're talking about, again, I'm interested in what I should stockpile for a downside scenario. It's not clear to me that silver is better than bullets. But is cryptocurrency better than silver? In the downside scenario, yes, if you think the government is going to collapse, it's not clear. If you think the internet is going to stop working, I agree, it's not clear that cryptocurrency is better.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember a few years back that the internet went down in the New York City and the surrounding areas, and it was down in other areas. Well, that was testing the kill switch.
Right, well, the silver is down on the internet always. At all times. I can't take the silver out of my pocket and send it on the internet. So you're talking about the trade-off between digital silver, which I can send on the internet the vast majority of the time, and physical silver, which I can send on the internet never. So again, it's not clear to me. You're saying, oh, well, you can't do this 0.05% of the time. Well, okay.
Okay, a question for fiat or for silver? Okay, we have somebody waving their arm, very long arms they are. Actually, it was Bill. Joe.
Bill, you want me to get Bill?
Yeah, Bill.
Let him go.
Waving his arms more enthusiastic.
All right, come on. Go ahead, Bill.
So my question is for silver representative, and you mentioned earlier that you were going to trade crypto. You need a device. You could be scammed. How do you prevent scams in silver, and wouldn't you need a device to weigh it? Just like crypto?
Okay, so first, I can put a piece of silver in my hand and tell you how much it weighs. You should try this. Also,
Can most people do that though?
If you practice doing anything, you get better at it. And so you can count your physical silver with your hands, and also you can ascertain the rough dimensions and the rough amount just visually looking at it. But it does help to have a scale, that does help, but it is not necessary. Whereas without your app, your internet, your phone, your internet connection, and electricity, with just one of those things missing, you will be 100% inoperable to do crypto counting or tracking. However, with silver, without a scale, without any tools, most people who handled an ounce of silver in their life can look at the thing and know if it's silver or not. But it does help to practice. It doesn't mean that if you do no training that you'll be good at this. Like anything, it does help to practice, and you should go home and practice get some silver testing acid and some gold testing acid, and practice testing your silver, practice testing and identifying silver and gold, practice weighing it. The better you get at that, the more it will serve you. If you can go to a yard sale and you can spot a silver chain on the table that you can just see that it's silver, well then you will have an advantage. If you have no idea what silver looks like, feels like, and you don't touch it at all and do stuff with it, you're going to be at a disadvantage. Does that answer your question? All right, thank you for that question.
So we have fiat. Does anyone have a good question for fiat? Jim, yes, you're the only one, but that is not Patrick.
Okay. Over the past 10,000 years, mankind has experienced paradigm shifts on the occasion of certain inventions. And I would maintain that the internet is one of those inventions. And therefore, a lot of changes are occurring. For instance, my travel agency lost 90% of their business over a period of 10 years. Lawyers, insurance agents, realtors, everybody's business is changing. Why wouldn't that also be the case for money?
And fiat dollars. Well, fiat dollars have been changing their ways with time, as I had mentioned. That we've gone off the gold standard, then we went off the silver standard, then we decided not to maintain a copper standard anymore, and started printing, minting fake pennies, or U.S. dollar, anyways. And then there's new technology coming that's being tried in some certain areas. I believe Ukraine is one place they're doing it right now. Central bank digital currencies. So they will be just as fast and as trackable as open source blockchain cryptocurrencies. And they will be, but they will be centrally controlled by the people who know better. And so that is the technology of the fiat dollar. And is sort of dual purpose, just like if the internet goes out, we will still maintain the paper dollars for, as long as necessary until the internet's good and bulletproof. But for now, if the internet goes out, you can still use our paper fiat. And but the central bank digital currencies that we're working on is, going to be a very big incentive to get into it, get your universal basic income, so you can use that to go get your favorite dopamine hit, whatever it is. Does that answer your question?
Okay, the panel's back open. Are there any more questions? Somebody wait. Oh, okay, we have one more. For whom is this? For Silver.
A question for Silver Dave. So, as someone who hopefully will live the rest of his life in a not post-apocalyptic world, the vast majority of products and services that I pay for are paid for at a distance, bills that go to someone very far away. And I myself run an online retail business where essentially 0% of my customers live within a reasonable walking or driving distance of me where they could come to me and exchange a silver coin for my goods. Likewise, most of the goods and materials I use for my business come from other states or other countries. In a future world where silver wins out and is the dominant currency, how can my business exist without me needing to trust a third party in between to handle my money?
Okay, very good question. And it is a difficult question. However, I would suggest that doing business across very far away distances, there's a trade-off. And so you trade off the convenience of being able to pay at far distances, but in turn you have to be a slave and use the king's money, slave money. I would suggest that maybe it's possible that life might almost be better if we had community again, and we had local markets, and that maybe you could sell your services locally and exchange actual things and actual money for it. I do not have a solution for you at this moment for how you can do long-range commerce aside from sending the silver and receiving the goods, which is possible. They have, hundreds of years ago, they bought things and they sent a delivery on cart by horse of silver back and forth. It is possible. But if you say, well, I want to have convenience, but I don't want to be a slave, well, there's a trade-off. And so if you want money of freedom, it's not as easy to buy on Amazon. But here's the thing, Amazon is like all these big corporations are in bed with the government. They are part of the tyranny. So, do we really need tyranny? Do we really need, top-down oppression? Because we could actually live, and you would save 99% of your wealth if not for the slave system. When you look at all the things you pay taxes on, you pay almost everything in taxes. Everything is taxed 5 different times along the way. And you pay income tax, property tax, license fee, registration. You've got federal tax, state tax, property tax, vehicle, whatever tax. And if you started adding up all the taxes, I would suggest that people pay 99% of everything in the tax system. And so that's the trade-off. We got the convenience to be able to send money across the world, but we got to pay 99% of our energy in slave tax. And so I only suggest that if people use sound money, silver, gold, copper, actual commodities, and they exchange actual things instead of enslaving, then we would see the empire collapse. And instead of continuous fraudulent wars and continuous fraudulent almost everything, we can have freedom. But we may not have as much ease of faraway commerce. Like I said before, I really would rather buy things locally. I'd love to go to the local market and look at the things I want to buy. I don't really like shopping on the internet. Buying clothes on the internet, you ever do that? Oh man, you buy clothes on the internet, it comes and it doesn't fit and you send it back. I really like local markets. But it is a really great question, and that is a big challenge on how to do long distance commerce with precious metals. It is difficult, but there are solutions, and we need to think about those. And I'm open to different ideas on how we can solve those problems, but doing it getting off the king's money, and that would be a good way. So, thank you. It looks like there's more hands. Does that sort of answer your question?
Well, not really, I mean.
And we can do that afterwards.
Dennis, I have a question.
Okay, so we have, for either crypto or for fiat, and crypto would actually like to go first. So if you have a question for crypto, I want to see something that's, oh, yes.
I'm enthusiastic.
He does have a crypto.
Yeah, listen.
Okay, a lot of questions.
I'm most enthusiastic. I'm gonna fall over if I'm any more enthusiastic.
I can't see anything.
I'm
sorry.
You guys recognize me.
Oh, it's up here, up here.
Turn off his microphone. All right. This is for crypto, for Jeremy Hoffman. Alright. I know
Point of order.
a bit less high tech than you are. You might know a bit more about crypto, but my one big issue with crypto is that it relies on technology, and technology can fail. I know overall cryptocurrency is not going to fail. There's a network decentralized around the world, but I had hard drives. I've had multiple hard drives. The Passport, 1 terabyte hard drive, and other stuff that have been corrupted. And my brothers also lost data. Things can be corrupted and lost forever. Whereas with silver and fiat, that Jay is making a great argument for tonight, starting with fiat and silver, that can't really happen. You can't get corrupted technology that where you lose the data, the crypto forever. It would be a shame if someone had a hard drive, a cold storage wallet, or some kind of hard drive, phone device, computer, and they lose millions of emojis or something. How would you respond to that?
Well, if you memorize 14 words, you can never lose your Bitcoin.
I went to public school. I can't memorize 14 words.
That's fair. I think that's fair. Bitcoin might not be a public school kid. I think all this is fair. I'm not a cryptocurrency shill. I'm not. I think people know that about me. I think cryptocurrency has a lot of downsides. It just has fewer. It just has fewer than the alternatives. Is basically where I'm at. You're saying, well, how can I make sure that my money can never be taken from me? Guess what? That's not possible. That's not possible, right? All we can do is talk about trade-offs, right? So we can talk about, is it easier for you to, retain a seed phrase, which is a sequence of words which can be written down in sort of any number of ways, or is it easier to secure the physical ownership of potentially hundreds of pounds of precious metals, right? I think making sure that I retain the sequence of words and that only I know those words is easier than maintaining ownership over precious metals. People might disagree on that. You can disagree, right? But let's make sure that we're acknowledging what the actual trade-offs are. Because it's not like there's, if you're saying own US dollars, then you mean, well, what, am I putting them in the bank and trusting what a bank might do with them? Or are you saying, I'm going to own cash, which could not be stolen? So what are we actually saying, and what are we actually comparing? Because when it comes to cryptocurrency, I think if you're saying, hey, I'm concerned about total world collapse, there are reasonable concerns about cryptocurrency. If you're saying that I think the world is going to retain, the internet is going to continue to function, then I think that cryptocurrency is going to have properties that are superior to alternatives. If there's just a question of how do I send silver over the internet? The answer is cryptocurrency. Right? You can send silver. I can give you a design of how. I mean, if there isn't one that already exists, but you can have any precious metal-backed cryptocurrency. We can design it to be redeemable.
Don't do that. That's a really quick.
Oh, I have lots of ideas. I have so many illegal ideas. I have a lot of illegal ideas. But yeah, that's part of what's interesting about cryptocurrency. We can do things that weren't possible before that would actually be illegal if they were done in other means. But because they're done in this, and this is funny when people laugh about it, but that's actually how technological innovation works. That's actually literally what technology does. Technology is this sort of arbitrage against government where technology allows us to innovate a new way of doing things that allows us to circumvent the existing rules and regulations in this way that the government, we get ahead of the government. That's part of what innovation is. And I think that's what cryptocurrency is doing. I'm rambling, so
Why don't you stay here?
Yeah.
We had an hour break in the. He had the.
Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry about that. So my question was for silver and crypto.
Silver and crypto.
Yeah, it's a crypto you can respond first. So there's incentives for people to denominate their debt in a certain species, whether it's crypto, silver, dollars. And it seems like the incentive now is solely based on denominating in dollars because after 10 years, I'm going to owe less real money than I have to pay back. If I were to denominate my debt a year ago or 10 years ago in Bitcoin and I owe someone Bitcoin today, that's a really bad deal for me because it's going up a lot. And silver has that same problem too. So I've tried to figure out like if New Hampshire were to somehow become its own country and denominate its money in something other than dollars, it would be facing this deflation or concept of competing with the dollar being able to print. So how do you deal with people setting up a debt, legitimate debt system where they can stave off the problems of the dollar being able to?
Well, crypto doesn't have a problem because crypto isn't Bitcoin. Crypto is anything. I can have a dollar, I can have a crypto dollar, right? I can literally have a US dollar and put it on a blockchain. So you might not like US dollars, but this idea that these are separate concepts is completely false. I can have US dollars on a blockchain. I can have any asset on a blockchain. So when we're saying X versus cryptocurrency is anything. I can take any financial asset. I can put silver on the blockchain, I can put gold on the blockchain, I can put US dollars on the blockchain. If you want to criticize blockchain, you can say, well, what happens if the internet doesn't work, or what happens if cryptography ceases to function? Like, these are valid criticisms of cryptocurrency, but this idea that like cryptocurrency is inherently some gold-like thing, I'm very favorable towards those types of concepts, but that's not what cryptocurrency is. It can be anything. So part of it, I think, is like accepting that like we're not saying that that's what it is. And I actually, at times, to adverse response among the industry, like I think it is very difficult to find a path where there's some sort of cutover from the status quo to this other kind of hard currency. It's partially why I'm more favorable towards paths that are other kinds of stablecoins, either literally fiat stablecoins, but we could also design currencies that are stable-ish by doing, David Friedman type commodity baskets, types of things that are saying, well, we're going to create a sound and stable-ish money. I actually think cryptocurrency is hurt by it being this kind of speculative instrument because good money should not be speculative. Money is not supposed to be speculative. And this is something that I think the cryptocurrency industry at times can struggle with because people want it to be a speculative investment. They want to get rich off it. Currencies aren't supposed to be speculative investments. That's not what currencies are supposed to be. Speculative investments are things where you're anticipating sort of productive things from happening. And so you can maybe argue that these sort of scarce cryptocurrencies are going to be this more productive form of money, and so therefore they are an investment. And maybe that's possible, but like that is a portion of cryptocurrency. That is not what cryptocurrency is. Cryptocurrency is just this censorship-resistant way of storing data, and you can build all kinds of things on top of it. So I can have a stable coin, I can have a commodity coin, I can have a hard money like Bitcoin, and all of those things are cryptocurrencies. And so I think like basically, my answer would be that you can get whatever you want out of a cryptocurrency. There's a question that you have, there's a skepticism inherent in your question that I think is correct, that I think the answers aren't clear to, but they're not inherent to cryptocurrency because cryptocurrency can just have a design that solves them. But I think that you're asking questions that are inherent to like how will Bitcoin how will Bitcoin replace the dollar is a good question. What would that actually look like? How would that happen? I think that's a really good question that more people should be asking. But that's not the question that we're debating tonight, because I can just do $1 as cryptocurrency. I can just do make or die. I can just do various stablecoins.
Yeah, you kind of have an escape hatch to like fall back to crypto as a concept versus the other ones you're dealing with, there's specific implementations that they're trying to defend.
So I'm actually going to have him answer that at the end. We only have time for one more question, and it's for Fiat. So if anybody has Fiat,
yes,
you do.
Yes, every fiat ever created disappeared and crashed to zero within the lifetime of one human being. True.
Okay.
I've got the book on the money. And that's a true statement. So 1971 is when the US dollar became the Federal Reserve note. Now, the lifetime of one human being is 120 years. How long is your Federal Reserve note going to last?
Well, hopefully we're going to pump it a few more times so a whole bunch more people invest in it and, get faith in it, put their pensions in it. And we're going to, just keep on injecting it with some adrenaline. I mean, more dollars. We're going to zombie it right along the best we can, and so we can extract every ounce of energy we can from the slaves. In all seriousness, you're exactly right about that. The United States has defaulted at least twice on their debt. First when they took the gold back in 1935, and then again in 1971 when they closed the gold window, causing a fuel crisis because, it was just a lot of things have happened. And now we've got all that stuff out of the way. You don't have to worry about anything. Just, go back to watching TV.
Woo!
Okay. All right, conclusion, closing statement. As I am here shilling Fiat today, I just want to remind everyone that the almighty Fiat community is extremely powerful, and the evidence is if you do something we don't like, we shut you down. We take away your ability to use credit cards. Just go to a local silver mint and try to use a credit card and see what happens. Good chance you're going to find that we've stopped that guy from accepting from taking credit cards. And also we have other examples. How dare this Ross Ulbricht set up a crypto only buying and selling platform on the internet. So we put him in prison for several life terms to make sure everybody else just understands what's going on. Every country in the world that opposes the dollar, their leaders, whether they're CIA installed or not, we do away with them. So, Gaddafi was doing his Great River project in Libya and wanted to have a African-backed gold currency. So we had to fix that guy. Same thing, like I said, Saddam Hussein wanted to trade exclusively, or wanted to trade in anything but the dollar. Actually, is what was going on. 30-something years ago now. So we had to, fix him. The Fiat community has the exclusive monopoly on international violence. So we will maintain power. We have a massive amount of people and industries that are very much addicted to fiat. These industries are agriculture. We give you dollars in the form of crop insurance if you agree to use Monsanto growing practices and Monsanto certified seeds and chemicals. We also have financed the electric car market because we just like electric cars. And we help create all kinds of incentives for people to buy electric cars. We have the public schools, so we are currently training people to be willing to accept and to be very much addicted to the US dollar for generations and generations. And now we have big tech, which has come up with an algorithm to literally program the brains of small children. And through programs in a lot of the inner cities where internet is available basically for free, Anybody on welfare can get an internet device to help program the children earlier, get them addicted to basically things that require fiat dollars to buy. You can probably use cryptocurrency to buy some of those other stuff also. So we have the power. We will shut you down. We've been working on it with all kinds of agencies like the FBI and other international agencies to just rain power. And if you're just some shithole country somewhere, we'll just bomb the hell out of you if you don't want to use the dollars. And that's really the bottom line. You'll just die. And we keep on showing the example time and time again. Like I said, Crypto 6, bunch of guys, trying to fuck with us. So we had to straighten them out. And anybody who else fucks with us, we're just going to call them terrorists. And most of the algorithmic slaves, I mean, the people, especially from the cities, will be, just following what we do. We have all the soldiers, we have nuclear-powered submarines, and we have the largest naval fleet in the world. We can just kind of do whatever the hell we want, and we don't really care. So, thanks for keeping us in power. You're helping by using the dollars.
Okay, next up for conclusion is crypto.
Oh, I thought I was Ed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I don't know why I have this. Yeah, hey.
Crypto's the best memory.
We have to have good memory for crypto.
256 kilobytes of memory. All right, I guess this is my 5 minutes to close it off. And first, I want to start by answering the gentleman in the back asked that great question, and I've had a chance to think about it for 2 minutes and I have an answer. How do I send stuff and buy stuff remotely? And the answer is the same way you ship the product to him, he ships the silver to you. You make a deal, and you say, I'll sell you this car, you send me 100 ounces of silver, he sends you 100 ounces of silver, you send in the merchandise. Simple. Next thing, for my closeout, why silver is the top, the best currency, the best exchange unit, because silver has the best divisibility, the best durability. It has relative scarcity and intrinsic worth. And I know some people were over saying to me, they were saying, Dave, tell them how silver's used in medicine. That's right, medicine. But also silver's used in so many things, I don't even have time to say them all. So many things. You have something right now, you are wearing something that either has silver in it or is made with silver or uses silver. You probably all have a phone. That's silver.
Tomahawk missiles.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Tomahawk missile has 400 ounces of silver in it every time they shoot one. So, the next thing is in 1,000 years, I would predict that cryptocurrency, in 1,000 years, I would predict that Bitcoin is gone. It's not a thing anymore in 1,000 years. But in 1,000 years, I would also bet that gold and silver are still a thing. We'll have to wait 1,000 years to find out if I'm right. So, with all this, ultimately, my conclusion is that silver is the best because it gives you the power. It doesn't require you to be dependent on an external entity. It doesn't require you to need the internet, a phone, electricity, an app. You are dependent on all of those things for cryptocurrency. And do you really believe that you can do anything on the internet secretly and anonymously? Or is it possible that the powers that be control the internet to a large degree? And I'll also say that if you're looking for something that's going to still be valuable in a month or a year or in 3 years, I don't know if you guys remember, there was this famous group of people that predicted the pandemic. You remember that? Those guys, they said it was going to happen before it happened. Then did you hear they started saying there's going to be a cyber pandemic? They're saying the internet's going to get scrambled. They predicted the pandemic, and they were right. Now they're predicting a cyber pandemic. The internet's going to get screwed around. And I would suggest that the next big war is actually a cyber war because the global power elite don't want to destroy
all the bridges and the hard assets of the cities and the buildings. They don't want to smash them all and bomb them all. So instead, they scramble the internet. And also that gets them to be able to cover up all the missing money that's going on right now. So they scramble that. And if you're putting all or most of your wealth into things that require the internet, you might be putting yourself in danger of losing your wealth. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because I really care that people protect their wealth. And I really want them to protect their wealth. And when people, it's not that I don't like, it's not that I have a personal anger against digital things or cryptocurrency. It's just that I have this weird ability to be able to tell the difference between stuff and fluff. And you've either got the stuff, it's either something or it's nothing. It's either a picture of a steak or an actual steak. And they say, well, you can't eat silver. No, but you can buy food with silver. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for hearing our great points tonight. You guys were fantastic. I'm Silver Dave, and I'm out.
And batting final is crypto.
All right, I'm not actually sure what I'm concluding with here. I kind of feel like I've already won. That probably hurts my chances, though. But the truth is that cryptocurrency can do anything that the other things can do. If you want a U.S. dollar on a blockchain, you can have a U.S. dollar on a blockchain. If you want an ounce of silver on a blockchain, you can have an ounce of silver on a blockchain. If you want gold on a blockchain, you can have gold on a blockchain. And if you want money that's better than all of those things, like basket of commodity type money or money that's a balance of a variety of goods, you can also get that on the blockchain. So we have better money on the blockchain. With blockchain-based money, we can do things that neither of the other things can do. I can take my digital money and I can send it to anyone in the world. I can send it to them anonymously, and I can buy things online from them anonymously. There's no other thing that does this. Fiat doesn't do this. Silver doesn't do this. Anything that can be done in person can also be done with blockchain-based money. So, I'm a realist. I think there are scenarios in which some of these other people win. I think if you think that the federal government is powerful enough, or not just the American federal government, it requires all federal governments in all countries. I can be a blockchain pessimist at times, actually, as an American, but remember that there are other governments far less capable than our own. And so all blockchain needs to start doing is winning in some places, in some countries. And if it is truly a superior system, then it will outcompete the rest. And so it seems very realistic that these types of systems will win in at least some places. We've already seen that commodity, this hard metal type money, it can't compete in the internet. It's honestly not even competing here in one of the most friendly places in real life. To it, how many transactions are you actually doing in silver versus other metals? Whereas crypto has, again, the ability to do all these things, to solve all of these problems. It also meets important criteria, such as a sort of this pragmatic path that satisfies principles of marginality. This is a really big problem. It's like we can envision a world in which, if everyone was trading in silver, that would be better. Okay, great. But is there a marginal path there? Is there a path to everyone trading in silver where everyone's marginal choice is correct? And it seems very clearly no. There's just not a path. There's just not a path to America replacing the dollar with silver, where there's maybe a plausible, I'm not enough of crypto to say definitely, but there is literally maybe a plausible path where either cryptocurrency replaces the dollar as the means of trading inside of the United States. There's also a plausible path where Bitcoin or other hard currencies actually replace these sort of global reserve currencies or these kinds of things. I'm not saying these things are given, but it's actually possible. And if it was going to be gold, if it was going to be silver, if it was going to be these other things, it would have happened. Okay, El Salvador could have moved on to gold for the last 50 years. They moved on to Bitcoin. Because cryptocurrency has advantages, and I don't endorse everything El Salvador has done, but cryptocurrency has advantages that other currencies don't. Some of the criticisms of crypto have been correct. This idea that like everything is happening in US dollar and is happening in fiat, but so what? Again, that can all happen via crypto. So crypto is the only one that has the ability to do everything online. It is the only one with the ability to have these sort of marginal properties to replace and supplant the status quo. All right. So it's the only thing that is possible to replace, what has been. If we're talking about 1,000 years in the future, I think that's a very difficult question to answer. It is not clear. It's not clear that Bitcoin will be here 1,000 years in the future. But it's not clear that anything will be. Again, 1,000 years in the future. Think about all the scientific advancements, right? To be betting on precious metals 1,000 years in the future would to be betting that we won't be able to move atoms. We won't be able to we won't be able to put another atom and say instead of 79 protons, we're going to now have 80, right? I mean, this is the kind of science that we're talking about. That to say that won't be possible in 1,000 years, I'm very skeptical of that. That's what you're betting on with precious metals, right? You're betting on these kinds of things can't happen. To be betting on US dollars, you'd be betting on that the United States government will be here 1,000 years from now, which actually seems like an even crazier bet than betting on precious metals. I don't know. I kind of almost want to reject 1,000 year bet entirely. If you're gonna bet on 1,000 years, I would bet on cryptography and math, rather than any of these other things. I don't think we need to think of it that way. We're talking about today, and in terms of what can be done today, cryptocurrency really wins in every regard. Anything that you want to do in other systems, you can do in cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is the only system with the properties that can plausibly replace or supplant the status quo, and so it's win-win. It's win on upside, and it's win on the sort of average case because you can get a better outcome even in the average case. I'll argue against myself. I think the only scenario in which you vote against me is one in which you're saying, hey, I want to be prepared for a collapse. I think the internet might go down. I think America might collapse. I think we might not have electricity. I think we might not have the internet. All right, maybe you can say crypto isn't the bet for you if that's what you're really trying to be prepared for. But absent that scenario, I think crypto is the clear choice for everyone. So, thank you.
I'd like to give a hand to Fiat, Jay Noon. To Silver Dave. And to Crypto, Gordon Coffee. So, which currency is best for you? Please raise your hand if Fiat is best for you. All right. Well, there's been a shift here. Okay, please raise your hand if silver is best for you. Okay, hold on a second. Keep them up. Okay. And please raise your hand if crypto is best for you. And please raise your hand if undecided is best for you. All right, well, I think we're going to have to give it with a slight edge to silver.
Stack it up!
So thank you very much. Please see our vendors and get some food.
Silver gets the Tootsie Roll.
Oh, yeah, that would be great if I thought of
I hope there's a lot of silver donations.
I just have a concept for diversity, equity, and inclusion.